Yo, shalom. All praises to Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai, double honors to the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the elect and all the brothers pushing us work in sincerity and in truth. This is brother Tamayim from GMS Toronto. Coming at you with another video, right? I'm going to title this video, Do You Know Who This Guy Is? Right? I don't know who this guy is. This is Yoel Alta, right? It says here, is a senior member of the controversial ultra-Orthodox Jewish sect. Lev Tahor was arrested in Guatemala in January 2025, right? Subsequently extradited to Mexico to face charges of human trafficking and organized crime, right? This is a small hat. And he's in South America. And he's out there pretty much trafficking children, okay? But this didn't make news 1 second. It didn't make news. This just popped up on my feed a couple of days ago. I'm like, what the, I'm like, what the hell, right? What's a small hat doing in Guatemala? Because it's so easy to take advantage of your children of Israel, man. Right? Once you see these people come around, you start like handing your children over. When they start gravitating towards your children, you leave your children by them, you know. And they know this because you're impoverished, right? You're poor, you don't have a lot of money, so most of the times you know what's going on, but you just turn a blind eye, right? He was over there trafficking your children. But they would want you to believe that the face of trafficking is the so-called black man's face, right? Look at how they had Puffy's face plastered all over the place, over some. The dude is a swinger, which according to Esau's world, that's okay, right? The dude is a swinger and he's a woman abuser, right? And this guy have done way more gross things in his life in the '90s. Early 2000 and even in the early 90s, man, and it wasn't publicized. All of a sudden he's the face of sex trafficking. He's the face of immorality, while you have these guys, these small hatters, just running amok, right? It's pretty much like a smoke screen, a smoke bomb, so to speak, right? They put you, they give you the villain, and while you have the villain, they're behind the scenes doing a bunch of nasty shenanigans, right? It says the Delta details of the arrest and charges, location and date. Alta was detained by Guatemalan authorities in coordination with Interpol on January 29, 2025. This was last year. This didn't make news 1 second. Outside a government-run center for the treatment of minors in Guatemala City. So this guy is a high-ranking member, right, of the Orthodox, ultra-Orthodox. So very, very strict. This should have made news, but why wouldn't it make news? Because they run the media, right? This is their domain. Anything like this will be snuffed out, right? It has to be the independent news agencies that would put this out here. He won't be on NBC. He won't be on ABC. He won't be on any of these, on Fox News. He won't be on any of these news broadcasting agencies. Why? Because he's of that wicked elk, right? Charges here. Let's go through his charges. He was wanted in Mexico on an arrest warrant issued in 2022. So this guy's been going around being a pedo for the longest, right? But that's how you know these people of this world. Not to digress. You see them all over the social media plastering a man dating, let's say a man who's in his 40s dating a 20-year-old. They would call that man a pedophile. They would call that man all manner of names due to the fact that he's older than the girl, but the woman is of age. But shit like this, they won't say nothing about it. Okay? Vince McMahon, they won't say anything about him. But then they'll put Puffy and R. Kelly and all those guys all over the news, right? Just for you to have an Israelite man as the villain or as the wicked, while they're doing 10 times worse than what these guys are doing, right? All of them are doing wicked acts, but there are levels to this shit, man. Right? It says here he was charged in Mexico in an arrest warrant, right? He was wanted, right? So he was a fugitive for charges related to human trafficking, including the forced marriages of minors to adults within the sect, right? So they bring these, they come to your country and they bring these laws with them, right? And you will always wonder why there's always someone in the seat of rulership, and they look a certain way, right? Or they move a certain way. These people are all over the world, man. Every country, they have a puppet ruler. There's always a small hat behind them. You name a country, there's a small hat right there. Okay? Alta, Alta, a dual citizen of Israel and Romania, was extradited to Mexico in early July 2026. So a couple of days ago. The year just started, allegedly. After an appeal against the extradition case was definitely lost, right? His appeal was shut down. He was brought before a federal judge in Chiapas, Mexico, a state bordering Guatemala that was identified as a central area of the group's alleged activities. You want to know what's gonna happen? Nothing, right? Because guess a small hat is in rulership in Mexico. Nothing's gonna happen to this dude, man. Right? His face is not gonna be plastered all over the world like how Puffy's face was or R. Kelly's face was. But this guy is gonna just walk free, right? Because the wicked are in rulership, man. So these are the things that he did. Arrest, the context of the investigation, right? Alta's arrest is part of the broader international effort targeting the leadership of the Lev Tavir sect, which has faced numerous allegations of child abuse, forced marriages, and human trafficking in several countries. So this is a worldwide thing, man. This is a it's like a net, right? Dark web, you know? And he's the so-called leader of the whole thing. There's always multiple leaders and multiple groups when it comes to a sect, right? We don't know how wide this thing is spreading, or this thing has already spreaded. He could also be the fall guy, but either way, he's a small hat, and he's not being plastered in the news. This should make international news. This should make national news in America, right? But they're so distracting you with Trump jumping into Venezuela, Trump doing pretty much threatening other South American countries, Trump in Greenland. While this shit is happening behind the scenes, and these things are all distraction. And we all know that for the major thing that's happening behind the scenes. The group is known for relocating frequently to avoid authorities, so they're fugitives, man. Right? In December 2024, a raid on a Lev Tahor compound in Guatemala resulted in the rescue of approximately 160 children. Do you hear this shit, man? And 40 women. Other leaders of the sect have also been arrested and convicted for crimes, including kidnapping and child exploitation in the United States. So you tell me the Puff Daddy case is more important than this? This is 160 children. Puffy didn't, they were trying to put that whole, children and all that stuff on Puffy's name, but the dude wasn't into that. He was a big time homo, a pan, but the dude wasn't into children trafficking and all that shit. The dude's a weirdo. But they made him the face of child trafficking, and then they dropped those charges, and now he's in jail for nothing really, like prostitution, right? You see how they treat the so-called black man in the United States, man. While this guy gets to walk free with 160 children in confinement, okay? A fugitive. fugitive and a vagabond, man. This is who you are, right? You're the descendant of Cain, Amalek. This is who you are. Genesis 4 and 12. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not hence yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond, thou shalt be in the earth. And you know who this is? This is Cain, right? And his descendants. Because when he dropped down to 26, they knew that who they were, and they knew they were going to be a fugitive until it was time for them to be locked up. So that's who these people are. That's why they're always running, jumping from country to country, right? They're fugitives, man, waiting to be locked up, right? Waiting to be for justice to arrive, man. And that's gonna come from Yahweh Shai, right? This is the reason why. Let's always go to Job 9, man. Job 9 and 24. Because this is who's running this earth. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, who, where, and who is he? Right? This place is given into the hands of the wicked. That's why wicked acts are being carried out. That's why you have child traffickers, right? And nothing's being done to them, right? Let's go into the book of Wisdom of Solomon. I think it's 12. It has to be 12. And, you know, the Bible always says there's nothing new under the sun, right? Because this has been done before. And we know this is their MO. This is the work of the wicked, man. Murderers. Select here. Children's blood. Let's see what comes up. Wisdom of Solomon. Yep, I was in the right. I was in the right. Verse let's start at 4. Let's start at 3. For it was thy will to destroy by the hands of our fathers, both those old inhabitants of the Holy Land. And now, guess what? Who's in the Holy Land right now? There are 2 people in the Holy Land. There are the Ishmael is over there, and also majority, and also Amalek is over there, majority. And they're doing the same thing that the people of the old land did before we came and thrashed them out. Okay, verse 4, whom thou hatest for doing most odious works of witchcraft and wicked sacrifices, and also those merciless murderers of children and devourers of man's flesh, and the feast of blood, with their priest out of the midst of the idolatrous crew, and the parents that killed with their own hands, soul destitute for help, that the land which thou esteemest above all other might receive a worthy colony of Yahweh Bashem Yashai's children. So that's exactly what we're seeing right now, right? That land is yearning for us to be in there, right? Along with the tabernacles of David, man, right? Yahweh at the top, Yahweh Shai, second in command, right? King David, the elect, right? The 12, with the heathen at the bottom, right? Because this is what happened when the heathens are in rulership, man. You have children being molested, right? And trafficked, and nothing's being done. And when they're caught, everything is swept under the rug, right? They sweep everything under the rug as if everything's okay. But if it's you, right? Or they might give you a little bit of let's say this happened, they might catch some pimp, right, in fucking Mississippi somewhere, sentence him to 150 years for doing some weird shit, right? Just for, like, human, so-called human trafficking, pimping, which both, in that lifestyle, both parties, for the most part, is willing participants, right? It's a language that the hoe and the pimp speak, but I'm not gonna get into that. They might give you a story like that, right? This guy has 5 women. He held them, like, meanwhile, this guy has 160 children on the side over here, and nothing's being done to him, right? Nothing's being broadcasted on the news, you know? Let's get into the word media, the etymology of it. Let's see what comes up. Meaning middle of, let me see what it says here. As the plural of medium, referring to channels or means of communication, right? So when you go into change the channel, right, it's all witchcraft, okay? Let's see what they have here. Degree, middle quality, that which holds a middle place of position. Single adjective, feminine, single medial. It's a vehicle equipment, medium. But either way, it goes into etymology. Let's see what it says in the Latin. Channels or tools that operate between a sender and a receiver to convoy. Let's see. Medium, witchcraft. Let's see if it says that, because they hide the definitions all the time. The term witchcraft derives Old English, while media comes from the Latin. There is no shared etymology, so they definitely switched the meaning. Let's see what it says here. Media and typology, media portrait of the witch, types of witchcraft category. Anyway, it's not. I should have screenshotted this, but it's all good. Let's see what it gives you. Single plural medias seem to have originated from the field of advertising, right? So it's from the field of advertising. So it's pretty much a control, right? It's a control of what you see. Goes back to the crystal ball, right? They control what goes out there. They control what you consume mentally, right? Visually, and they don't want you to see certain things or certain people. That's what you're gonna see. And they want you to see certain things and certain people. That's what you're gonna see. So that's why the scope is always pretty much zoned in on you, Jakes, when it comes to wickedness. Okay, but the wicked himself is always hid while giving you a villain. Shalom.